There's actually one part in their documentary where I have Amber Heard saying that what they're saying isn't true. For those of you who don't know, NBC did a video and call it a digital documentary. And that documentary is full of misinformation and lies. And they're calling it a marriage on trial. I want to be very clear. From my perspective, is they're trying to hold water for Amber. They're trying to make it seem like Amber Heard is the person who was wronged in this whole situation. There's actually one part in their documentary where I have Amber Heard saying that what they're saying isn't true. What? Right? So they're backing Amber Heard, and they're going to use a piece where I have Amber Heard saying that what they're saying is a lie. And they're putting it forth it's true to help Amber. So you're going to see all of that. It's literally insane. I was a little shocked why NBC would put something out there like this that could be so easily debunked. But I'm thinking they don't think we do the debunking. We're going to go look over it. So I'm just going to play the first 30 seconds of the opening just so you guys can hear exactly how they're trying to manipulate us.
Getting uglier as we
trial with actor Johnny Depp suing his ex-wife, actress Amber Heard, began.
I struggle to think of a case like this where you had both sides really using the courtroom to fight the public opinion war.
I think a lot of people want to dismiss this case and say that this is two celebrities and who cares. People don't always get the nuances of it because they're seeing the headlines.
You had Johnny Depp and all of his fans came out of the woodwork. They were on TikTok. They were on the comment threads.
People believed him. They didn't believe her. Now, whether that's right or wrong, I don't know. But that's how the social media frenzy works.
We are now in a world where social media is used as a weapon.
When people act like social media is completely irrelevant to the real world, that's plainly incorrect. And there is no denying the impact that social media posts and viral content can have on our real world.
That is the first 30 seconds of this video. What do we get? Social media plays a big impact on all this stuff, right? We had Johnny Depp, sexiest man alive. And then right behind it, you see Amber Heard and her pictures of her bruises, right? So they're telling you where they're going. With this, I think it's clear from the opening. So they're suggesting to the audience that social media was the reason why Johnny Depp won. And that's essentially what this whole video is about. It's not about the jury, not about the evidence. It's about social media. And NBC wants you to believe that Amber Heard is the victim and Johnny Depp is the perpetrator. But remember the whole donating versus pledging thing? This is what they want us to take away from the donated versus pledging part of this exchange. I want people to listen to what they say about the donated versus pledging.
Could.
She said that she was going to give all of her divorce proceedings to charity.
Now, just to be clear, what he said was, she said she was going to, right?
She said that she was going to give all of her divorce proceedings to charity.
She said she was going to give all her divorce proceedings to charity. So you got to be very careful with what is being said. And we know that's not true. She didn't say she was going to give it. She said she gave it.
You said all this, and then there was a divorce settlement. You got $7 million. People were saying this is all about the money. But then you did something that twisted that whole argument. What did you do with that money?
$7 million in total was donated to, I split it between the ACLU and Children's Hospital of Los Angeles.
ACLU is a human rights organization.
Sorry, ACLU is a prominent organization, nonprofit organization in the United States. Yeah. It's called the American Civil Liberties Union, and they work on behalf of marginalized communities on the ground and in legislative reform.
Right.
And
well, more power to you, because that's something that I've never heard of.
I wanted nothing.
She said that she was going to give all of her divorce proceedings to charity.
You have not donated $7 million of your divorce settlement to charity, right?
I have not been able to fulfill those obligations yet.
Now, that's the whole piece of the whole donating versus charity. Just a couple of seconds, just said she was going to do it, and people made a big deal out of it, right? That's it. They don't tell you anything else about it. They don't tell the audience that she claimed to give the money away and she held it. And they don't tell the audience that she was using donate and pledge interchangeably as her excuse, right? Because everyone would know that you're obviously lying, because no one uses donate and pledge interchangeably, right? But they don't tell you that. And the reason why is because it's such a pro-Amber hit piece. To show you how crazy they were trying to gaslight us during the trial. Most people miss this, but you're going to see it now. Remember in the trial where Amber said, I use donate and pledge synonymously, interchangeable. Well, here is Amber doing that when Elaine was asking a question. So Elaine's going to ask her questions about donations, right? And Amber's going to reply with pledging to try to gaslight the jury and gaslight the public that you could use the terms interchangeably.
So why did you donate 3.5 to Children's Hospital and 3.5 to ACLU?
The question is, she says, why did you donate? I want people to hear the question again. Listen to the question because the question is important.
So why did you donate 3.5 to Children's Hospital and 3.5 to ACLU?
Listen to her response.
Well, I pledged the first half, or 3.5, to Children's Hospital because I've been working there as a volunteer for well over a decade. I knew the facility well. I'd worked there with another
So you see, they're using pledged and donated it. She says, why did you donate the 3.5 million to the ACLU? And then Amber says, well, I pledged it, blah, 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 right? Using it interchangeably. Now, most people, we didn't pick this up because it was kind of like, who would do something like that? It's obvious donating and pledge are two different things. But the gaslighting is real, right? The gaslighting is real. And they thought they can get away with that. And that's why later on, Camille was able to call her out for it, right?
That you hadn't donated your entire $7 million settlement to charity at that point, had you?
That's incorrect.
Sitting here today, Ms. Heard, you still haven't donated the $7 million divorce settlement to charity. Isn't that right?
Incorrect. I pledged the entirety of the settlement, $7 million to charity, and I intend to fulfill those obligations.
Ms. Heard, that's not my question. Please,
What was
try
your
to answer
question?
my question. Sitting here today, you have not donated the $7 million, donated, not pledged, donated the $7 million divorce settlement to charity.
I use pledge and donation synonymous with one another. They're
But I
the same
don't.
thing.
Ms. Heard, I don't use it synonymously.
That's how donations are paid.
Now, that's not anywhere in NBC's recitation of the factual component, right? That is not anywhere near. Matter of fact, they give it that little thing, right? The jury should believe. Now, if you're on the jury and you hear that, like, she's obviously lying, right? She can't even tell the truth about donating. She could easily say, well, yeah, I was going to donate it, but then after things started getting a little wanky, so I kept the money and blah, 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 right? But she says I use donate and pledge synonymously, right? Which we all know is a lie. But NBC, do I want to give them the benefit of the doubt? No, right? No. You know they know this was, But I love the way he said it, right? He said, she said she was going to give money to charity and they held it against. No, she said she gave it to charity and they held it against us. This is NBC addressing the bad audio that Amber Heard had.
I did not hurt you. I did not punch you. I was hitting you.
Another audio clip, she appeared to be mocking him.
Now, I want to go back to that part real quick because they put it in, but they have no context to it, right? I did not hurt you. I did not punch you. I was hitting you, right? It makes it sound like it was like a nothing thing.
I've been able to fulfill
now, watch how fast it
those
goes by.
obligations yet.
I did not hurt you. I did not punch you. I was hitting you.
Another audio clip,
And you see, and they just go right past that audio clip, right? It's like it wasn't even said, right? It was just like, I'll punch you, I'm hitting you. But now, let me play you a little bit more of the clip so you can see exactly what was said.
I'm sorry that I didn't hit you across the face in a proper slap, but I was hitting you. It was not punching you. Babe, you're not punched.
Don't tell me what it feels like to be punched.
You've been a lot of fights, been around a long time. I know. Yeah,
no, when you fucking have a closed fist.
You get punched. You got hit. I'm sorry I hit you like this, but I did not punch you. I did not fucking deck you. I fucking was hitting you.
You can't
I don't know
deck
what
me.
the motion of my actual hand was, but you're fine. I did not hurt you. I did not punch you. I was hitting you. That's the difference between me and you. You're a fucking baby.
Because you start
You
physical
are
fights?
such a baby.
Because
Grow
you-
the fuck up,
Because you start
Johnny.
physical fights?
I did start a physical fight.
Yeah, you did, so I had to get the
Because-
fuck out of there.
Yes, you did. So you did the right thing, the big thing. You know what? You are admirable.
Now you've heard essentially a lot of that video. She's admitting, I start physical fights, I hit you, I do all this, right? But NBC didn't play any of that, right? How much of this did they play? Let's go back and listen to it.
I did not hurt you. I did not punch you. I was hitting you.
And that's it. That's it. It shows you. How crazy is that? Nothing about I start physical fights. None of that. Just I was hitting you. I didn't punch you. I didn't do this. So if you didn't see the trial, you didn't know that there was more to that piece. You'd be like, oh, okay, she said that, but that's nothing. Not knowing there's so much behind. That's crazy, right? Because you know what happened? If you didn't watch the trial, you wouldn't know there's more to it. They're going to go on to the next part of this. Listen to this.
Other audio clip, she appeared to be mocking him over his claims of being abused by her.
Right, and see what the jury and judge think. Tell the world, Johnny. Tell them, Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp, man, I'm a victim too.
Now, one thing I like what they do here is that they're going to allow Amber to clean this up. So they're going to slam it. They're going to be like, oh, I can't believe she did this. But then you're going to hear the part where she then explains what she was really talking about. They're going to move on. It's a deceptive way to make it seem like they're challenging Amber, but then they're going to hear her recitation of cleaning it up. And you're not going to hear anything about what Johnny says about it or his camp. You're just going to hear her clean it up and then they'll move forward.
And yes. I know it's a fair fight. It's these how many people believe or side with you.
It was really hard as a viewer who advocates for victims of domestic violence to learn that Heard had used that social bias, that misconception, in a manipulative way.
With all due respect, I wasn't saying it because he's a man. I was saying it because he's a man who beat me up for 5 years.
And you see how the music changed too. Did they scold her a little bit? You got softer music, but here's why I really said it. Listen to it again. Listen to the music. I wasn't saying it because he's a man. I was saying it because he's a man who beat me up for 5 years.
Mr. Depp is your victim, isn't he?
No, ma'am.
Depp's legal team.
You see, brilliant, right? Brilliant. Have Camille, your Depp. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. It's beautiful the way you can edit these things to make it seem like she's the victim. We're all crazy. We're all crazed lunatics, and she's the victim. Remember, the issue with the photos is that they were doctored, right? The photos were actually fake. So here is what was said in court about the photos. And this is obviously showing you that the photos that Amber Heard submitted as proof of the abuse were doctored and changed. And this is a clip of the testimony that was induced and the visual, so you can see how they were changed. So here's the photo.
No.
Now, there was 2 photos submitted, and they were saying there were 2 different photos.
And Mr. Neumeister, what's your, what do we see here in this?
Listen to this.
There's Exhibit 712, I believe you have. I'm not sure the date's number, 712 and 713. They're 2 separate exhibits, except it's the exact same photograph that's been, one's been edited, one hasn't. Or I can't say that one hasn't, but the colors have been modified in an editor.
You see it for yourself. And it was obvious, right? Oh, you've doctored the photos. They submitted 2 photos that were exactly the same. One looked worse because they changed it to make it seem like she was bruised. Now that you know for a fact these photos were doctored, right? Let me show you how NBC describes them.
Amber Heard has submitted quite a few photos into evidence of her injured.
With respect to photos of Miss Heard, I think that the jury most likely found the testimony of the gentleman from TMZ to be very compelling.
Now, what does the guy from TMZ have to do with the photos being doctored, right? What does the guy from TMZ have to do with the photos the jury believed were doctored because somebody came on and said, here's 2 photos they submitted. It's obvious they're the same photos. Obvious they changed it. So what did they say? It's TMZ's fault. What?
And the TMZ former employee effectively said that was staged. When jurors see that, they're going to lose a lot of faith in anything else that's presented visually or otherwise.
So NBC is trying to bring to you fact. This TMZ guy was so convincing. He goes on the stand and says, she staged the fact that when she went to get the TRO, she had staged it and called us to come take pictures of it. And you're supposed to take that and say, they don't believe all the other pictures. And the reason why they're trying to do that is to make it seem like people are being unreasonable. The jury is being unreasonable. instead of putting the fact that the jury saw that she presented two pictures, the same pictures, one was doctored and one was not. And that would make it seem like, oh, okay, that's why the jury didn't believe the picture. Amber Heard is going to tell us when the first incident of abuse was, right? What you're going to hear her say is the same thing she said also under oath in the UK trial. And she's been consistent. She's going to say it again in the US trial. So listen to it. And this is from the NBC video that we've been watching.
Do you remember the first time that he physically hit you?
Yes. She was asking him about a tattoo he had altered because it initially said Winona Forever. Winona Ryder was famously one of his ex-girlfriends.
And I said, what does it say? And he said it says wino. I just laughed because I thought he was joking. And
so now I need us to stop and think about what we just heard. She said that it was the first time, never forget it, right? And the reason why it was the first time, the wino tattoo, and she goes into explaining it, right? We're going to hear that again. But I need you guys to understand. She said the first time was the wino tattoo, and she said that both in the UK trial, and she's very consistent. She's saying that again in the US trial. After Amber testified that that was the first time that she did this, the court went on the break for a week. Amber then gave this picture that I'm going to put on screen right now to TMZ to show that she was beaten by Johnny and said, hey, this occurred in 2013 and here's the proof. And she said this picture shows that it happened in 2013. But listen to what Harvey Levin and TMZ says about this. This is important.
A photograph of Amber Heard with what looks like a bloody lip. And she wanted to show this to the jury. Her lawyer certainly did. And the judge said no. And the reason is because she testified about an incident where she says Johnny hit her and split her lip. And then they wanted to submit this photo. The problem is that in these trials, there's something called discovery. And that means each side has to trade information on what they've got.
Which is standard operating procedure. It's usually done before the trial.
It always is done before the trial.
Of course.
And so this wasn't produced. Johnny's team objected. And the judge said, you're right. This should have been done during discovery. So we're not going to let you submit the picture. So we got the picture. And it does appear to show a bloody lip.
Split lip, yep.
Listen, guys,
However,
listen. And her holding a little note, right?
There's an issue.
Timing.
And
well,
we're not talking. This is not a joke about comedy,
right?
The first rule of
comedy.
Right.
No. This is also the first rule of trials.
Yeah,
and evidence.
So there's a problem because remember, Johnny Depp sued a tabloid in the UK,
right?
And he said in that trial, that this was defamatory, that they would call him a wife beater and all that. Amber testified in that trial,
right?
And she testified about this incident, and she said that the first incident of violence occurred in 2013.
First incident.
Which was
UK.
wrong. Sounds like, that's what she's saying now. That was actually wrong about that.
Right, but in the UK, she's testified under oath that the violent relationship, the violent aspects of the relationship started in 2013.
Here's the problem.
We get the metadata
and
of this photo.
The metadata of the photo shows
is 2012.
2012.
And her team is now saying, oh, she got the date wrong.
So during the break, you guys ain't getting none of this coverage from anywhere else. So during the break, when she tried to say it started in 2013, here's the picture from 2013. They looked at the metadata 2012. And lo and behold, guess what Amber says? Well, guess what? The abuse really started in 2012. A year earlier. Amber then went back on the stand and said everything she said before was wrong. It was mistaken. She was essentially lying. She has told the jury it's 2013, and I'll never forget it. Believe me, it's 2013. Goes on break. TMZ says, hey, you said 2013, but it was 2012. Now, she's back on the stand. Listen to what she says. Listen to how she changes the story.
Amber, when did the first act of physical violence by Mr. Depp occur?
Objection asked and answered.
No, overruled.
The It would have been early 2012.
And how did you determine this?
I reviewed my therapist's Objection, notes. hearsay.
She hasn't even answered it, Your Honor.
All right, I'll allow the answer. By reviewing my therapist's notes. Objection, hearsay.
I'll sustain the objection.
Your Honor, but it's not offered to prove the truth of the matter asserted. It's explaining what she looked at.
I'll sustain the objection.
Okay. When did you earlier believe the first act of physical violence occurred?
Well, I had always believed up until recently that it had started later, that the violence started around early 2013, not early 2012.
Now, you testified earlier that the first act of physical violence by Mr. Depp related to the Winona Wino tattoo. Do you recall that testimony? Do you remember the first time that he physically hit you?
Yes.
Please tell the jury about it.
It was it's seemingly so stupid, so insignificant. I will never forget it.
I do.
Okay. Does that change your testimony, realizing that this is earlier? Was this in fact still the first act?
Objection, leading.
Sustained.
What was the first act?
Objection, asked and answered.
Sustained.
How do you remember the first act of violence?
Well, you never forget it. That's how I remember it. It changes your life forever. You never forget the first time someone hits you like that.
She is saying the NBC piece is wrong. Dates are wrong, right? That's not the first time. That happened. The incident that she's saying allegedly happened in 2013, but that wasn't the first incident of abuse. But you know what? NBC, why should we let the truth get involved with the narrative we're trying to spin, right? Why should we let the truth get involved in that? So I'm going to show you how NBC talks about that first incident. I'm expecting them to say, well, she changed her story. She changed the timeline. She had testified in every trial before that was 2013, then had to later change, said it was 2012. Discrepancies like that make juries believe that you're a effing liar.
Do you remember the first time that he physically hit you?
Yes.
She was asking him about a tattoo he had altered because it initially said Winona forever. Winona Ryder was famously one of his ex-girlfriends.
And I said, what does it say? And he said, it says Wino. I just laughed because I thought he was joking. And slapped me across the face.
But the cameras in the courtroom, I believe, also had an effect on the testimonies themselves, because these are two actors at the end of the day, right? And the entire argument on Depp's legal team was them saying that she is going to be giving the biggest performance of her life during her testimony.
So he says that's Depp's only argument, right? The best argument. She's given the performance of her lifetime. Not the fact that she changed the whole damn timeline, not the fact that she's obviously lying, not the fact that she did the first incident in every other case, but then all of a sudden has to change it in the middle of trial. Oh yeah, I lied to you last week, but I'm going to tell you the truth today. None of that. None of that. It's just because Depp's team said that she's given a performance and the jury believed her. This is what NBC is selling us. Crazy. They then left a part in this quote-unquote documentary where they were filming part of it allegedly, and the verdict came in. So you can see now, if this was just independent journalists, they read the verdict and say, oh, okay, he won, and just go through it, right? But let me show you how invested they were in the verdict and how they reacted to it, because they have one piece where the woman was unfortunately caught on camera when the verdict came in. They were shooting this before the verdict, yes, but this part of this came after verdict. So here we go.
Jurors deliberated 13 hours. Verdict delayed. He won. Okay. That's going to be an interesting fallout for a lot of domestic abuse survivors.
And you see, this whole documentary fell under the assumption that the victim and the survivor was Amber Heard. And she's just let it out the bag. Because he won, what's it going to do for the survivors like Amber Heard? We have to remember for the people who watched it, that Johnny Depp was found to be the victim, right? He was found to be defamed. She was found to be lying. And NBC doesn't let the truth get get in the way of the good narrative. And I want you guys to listen to what their final takeaway is.
So if we imagine a college student who is a victim of sexual assault, who wants to tell her story, the worry is that we might need to start counseling victims that telling their stories can have a very significant financial price.
What happens?
Now, I just want to be very clear. That's all nonsense. And I'll tell you why, right? If someone is lying about you, right? Someone just comes and makes up a lie and says, you did this to me, and it destroys your career. And you go sue them and say, no, those were lies, and I'm suing you because you lied on me. Then that is right. That is what our system is designed to do. Allegedly, victims aren't lying. And in this case, the person told lies that were proven to be lies, right? They were proved in a court. Here are the lies, right? A jury said this person is as a proven liar, right? Obviously, and not lied willfully. But they are still under the assumption that she is a victim, right? And that's why they say this. That's why they say this. The poor victims who are now going to be sued. Well, a victim wasn't sued in this case. A victim wasn't sued in this case. The perpetrator was sued. And the perpetrator was pretending to be a victim. That's what happened in this case. But again, they don't want to tell you that. They have to make Amber Heard seem to be the victim.
If I get ambered, because we're beginning to hear those terms. Or
yeah, if I get ambered, that means if somebody's out there lying and saying I did something to them I didn't do, I got ambered and we're going to court, right? Yeah. That's a good term. Don't amber me. Because being ambered means that person is lying about something like this, right? So yeah, if you amber me, I'll see you in court. But now, if you think Amber's a victim, changes. Hey, if you think Amber's a victim, don't amber me. Oh, so don't believe survivors. No, she's not, right? So when I say don't amber me, that means don't tell lies, because if you do, I'm gonna be taking you to court. Don't amber me. That's right. Don't lie on me. Don't make things up, right? Don't amber me. But this is where it's strange, because they still see abuse having this gender, and it doesn't. It doesn't.
Or we heard the term that Friday, I will Depp you.
Yeah.
We are already seeing other celebrities who are accused of sexual violence filing defamation suits.
Because don't forget, Johnny Depp is Marilyn Manson. Now he's all the evil men who've won, not understanding that this is a woman who admitted abusing him, right? But now she's just as bad as Marilyn Manson, right? He's just as bad. And again, Marilyn Manson could be innocent too, but now he's doing the same thing. He's saying, yes, this person lied about me. And even that, right? He's not allowed to sue, because that's essentially what they're saying. We don't want men to sue if women lie about them. We want them to get a pass. But Johnny said, no, I'm not giving them a pass.
Against their accusers.
The Me Too movement at its core was about victims coming forward and telling their story.
Yes, but Me Too was not about victims coming and telling lies, right? It was not about people coming and telling lies. I don't understand how they can't separate those two. Me Too is about women telling their stories, and those stories were truthful. This case was about a woman telling a Me Too story and lying about it. But again, don't let the facts get in the way of a good narrative.
We're women and we're proud. We won't be shut down.
I do wonder.
You see all of the we're women and we're proud, blah, 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 blah. It's all based on Amber being a victim. Amber being a victim. Amber being a victim. And this one, Amber's still a victim. She's still surprised that the liar, the person who's proven lying, lost.
Whether there will be that power in numbers again, whether people will be willing to go forward knowing they could get sued for defamation.
I love the fact that they just believe you can sue anybody for defamation for anything, right? No, defamation, you have to be lying, and I have to be able to prove that you're lying. right? So not everybody can be sued for defamation. So if you're a victim out there, or if you're a survivor, and this has happened to you, and you're telling the truth, then you don't have anything to worry about, because defamation is about lies, right? So essentially what they're saying is that women who lie about these type of claims should be immune from defamation suits, because if we're able to sue them for defamation, for lying and destroying careers of people, then in some way it hurts all women. But that's not the case. You can't let a liar hold the system up like this. It's not about, Amber Heard is not the survivor here. It's Johnny Depp, and they'll never understand it.
I strain to recall a case like this, where you had a celebrity who had fallen from grace use a public proceeding in a court trial to rehabilitate that image.
Now, the worst part about this, and this is the last part of it, is that they make it seem like Johnny used the court, and it was a sure thing that he was going to fix his image. But that just happened not to be the case, right? Because most of us thought he was going to lose. And defamation in the United States is extremely, extremely difficult. And the problem here is that Johnny won, not because it was easy. He won because the truth was on his side. And he won because he put all the evidence out there for all to see. And in a uniquely interesting way, we were all able to see all of the evidence and come to our own conclusions. And 93% of us came to the conclusion that this woman was lying. And the mainstream media, who's backed Amber Heard from the beginning, can't reconcile that fact, that she was shown to be a liar, found to be a liar. And this piece, this documentary that they put out, shows you how they just lied about essentially every bad fact for Johnny Depp, glossed over, right? Well, every bad fact for Johnny Depp wasn't glossed over. It was shown, exposed. He's a liar, he's this, he's that. Every bad fact for Amber was explained away and minimized. Even the fact that she lied and admitted she lied in all the court proceedings. That's the fact that she's under investigation for lying to Australia. Any of that, anything that hurt her credibility is not in this piece. But everything that hurt Johnny's credibility is in this piece. So that is what NBC was trying to give us. You know, I trusted. I thought NBC would be better than this, but they're not. They're horrible. It's really disgusting. It's honestly just disgusting.